The storm inside the WNBA has finally erupted. What began as quiet frustration among players and executives has now turned into a full-scale rebellion against the league's highest office. And at the center of this chaos stands Commissioner Cathy Engelbert, once celebrated as the steady hand guiding women's basketball into a new era, now accused of steering it straight into collapse. For years, Engelbert was the face of progress, a polished, corporate-savvy leader who promised to elevate the WNBA's image, secure sponsorships, and usher in financial growth. But today, those same traits that once earned her respect are being used as evidence against her. League owners, executives, and even players are now speaking out, claiming Engelbert has ruined the sport's reputation, alienated its stars, and lost control of the very league she was hired to protect. Behind the closed doors of boardrooms and executive meetings, the tension has reached a breaking point. Reports have emerged of heated calls, confrontations, and ultimatums from furious owners who no longer trust Engelbert's leadership. One executive described her tenure bluntly as the worst in professional sports. Another admitted that if a vote were held today, they'd choose to replace her. The league that was supposed to unite under Engelbert's vision has fractured beyond repair, and it's happening in full view of the world. The first public crack appeared at the WNBA Finals. It should have been a night of celebration, the culmination of months of hard work and passion. But when Cathy Engelbert walked onto the court to present the championship trophy, she was met not with applause, but with a wall of boos. Thousands of fans on the league's biggest stage drowning out her words with their disapproval. For a commissioner, there is no clearer message. That wasn't just noise, and it was rejection. The video went viral within hours. Fans on social media replayed it endlessly, their comments cutting deeper than any headline could. "This is what happens when leadership fails," one fan wrote. Even WNBA legends couldn't ignore it. Lisa Leslie, one of the most respected voices in women's basketball, admitted she felt bad for Cathy, but added that the crowd's anger said everything the league had been avoiding. Fans weren't just booing Engelbert, they were booing the broken system she represented. Behind the scenes, the fallout was immediate. Sponsors began asking questions. Media networks voiced concerns about the league's image heading into another season. And the owners, already frustrated, saw the public humiliation as proof that Engelbert's leadership had become toxic. "If you're getting booed at your own championship," one insider said, "your leadership days are numbered." The chaos didn't stop there. The officiating crisis that dominated the season only added fuel to the fire. For months, players and coaches had complained about inconsistent and biased refereeing. Fans accused the league of favoritism, and playoff games were marred by controversial calls that directly impacted results. Instead of addressing these concerns head-on, Engelbert stayed silent. That silence spoke volumes. To players, it meant neglect. To fans, it meant indifference. And to owners, it meant a commissioner who had lost control. One executive reportedly said, "If the product looks rigged, fans stop watching." And they were right. Viewership began to dip, and online outrage only grew louder. Engelbert's refusal to take responsibility turned a sports issue into a crisis of credibility. But perhaps nothing exposed her leadership failures more than her handling of Caitlin Clark, the player who was supposed to be the league's golden ticket. Clark's arrival brought record-breaking ratings, sellout arenas, and a wave of new fans. She was the biggest name women's basketball had seen in decades, a once-in-a-generation star. Yet somehow, the WNBA managed to mishandle her rise completely. Instead of embracing the excitement, the league appeared unprepared and defensive. Veteran players openly criticized the media attention surrounding Clark, while Engelbert stood by silently, refusing to acknowledge the growing tension. That silence allowed resentment to fester. Every hard foul, every dismissive comment, every moment of visible hostility toward Clark became a lightning rod for controversy. Fans demanded to know, why wasn't the commissioner protecting her biggest star? Engelbert's eventual response made things worse. When asked about the backlash against Clark, she downplayed it, calling it part of the game. For a league already accused of jealousy and poor leadership, those words sounded tone-deaf and dismissive. Sponsors grew frustrated, analysts questioned her awareness, and fans began to turn on her entirely. What should have been the WNBA's moment of triumph turned into a public relations nightmare. Instead of unity, there was division. Instead of celebration, resentment. And the person tasked with steering the ship was nowhere to be found. Inside the organization, even players began losing faith. Many believed Engelbert was exploiting Clark's fame to mask deeper problems: poor officiating, lack of transparency, and growing mistrust between players and management. Her critics accused her of running the league like a corporate startup instead of a sports community. She was more CEO than commissioner, obsessed with branding and investment deals while ignoring the emotional core of the game. And that obsession with money, that fixation on corporate control, might be what ultimately destroyed her. Back in 2022, Engelbert spearheaded a $75 million capital raise, selling off a 16% stake in the league to outside investors. It was marketed as a historic milestone for women's sports, but inside the WNBA, it sparked outrage. Many owners claimed they had been blindsided. They accused Engelbert of selling away too much power, giving outsiders influence over league decisions without proper consultation. To some, that move marked the beginning of the end. It represented everything critics now say went wrong under her leadership: secrecy, arrogance, and prioritizing business over basketball. As one owner put it, she sold the league's soul for quick cash. By the time the 2025 season ended, those words had become prophecy. The internal revolt was no longer speculation. It was real. League insiders confirmed that several team owners had privately agreed to push for Engelbert's replacement as soon as the collective bargaining negotiations with players concluded. They were simply waiting for the right moment to strike. That moment came in early October. According to sources, multiple franchise executives gathered for a confidential meeting. No cameras, no PR spin, just hard truths. Their goal was simple: chart a path forward without Cathy Engelbert. The discussions reportedly turned heated. Some owners accused her of ruining the league's reputation. Others argued she had lost touch with the players and fans who gave the WNBA its heart. By the end of that meeting, there was unanimous agreement. The league could no longer move forward with her in charge. From there, the plan took shape. Quietly but deliberately, owners began exploring replacements. Former NBA executives, respected sports business leaders, and even retired WNBA players with strong leadership credentials. The idea was to finalize the CBA, then announce a new commissioner before the next season began. A symbolic clean break. Meanwhile, the media pressure intensified. ESPN, Bleacher Report, and sports podcasts began asking the same question: how long could Engelbert survive? Analysts pointed out that every major controversy, from officiating scandals to Caitlin Clark's mistreatment, all traced back to her decisions or her inaction. Even Adam Silver, the NBA commissioner who technically oversees the WNBA, was said to be watching closely. Publicly, he continued to praise the league's growth, but privately, insiders claimed his patience was running thin. If the owners moved against her, he wouldn't stand in their way. That realization marked the final collapse of Engelbert's power. She was isolated. The players no longer trusted her, the fans no longer respected her, and the owners no longer needed her. Yet in true fashion, Engelbert refused to step down. She told reporters, "I've never been a quitter." But to many that wasn't strength, it was denial. Her downfall wasn't one single event. It was a slow-motion implosion, years in the making. The boos at the finals were the climax, but the fractures had been forming long before. Every ignored complaint, every defensive statement, every corporate decision made without empathy chipped away at the foundation she built. By the end, even her successes, the sponsorships, the funding, the TV deals, couldn't save her. The irony is that Cathy Engelbert came into the WNBA promising transformation. In a way, she delivered it, just not the kind anyone expected. Under her watch, the league became more visible, more profitable, and more talked about than ever before. But it also became more divided, more controversial, and more disconnected from its fans. She built a brand but lost the soul. Now, as whispers of her replacement grow louder, the league stands at a crossroads. The next commissioner will inherit a WNBA at its most visible and its most vulnerable. Fans are paying attention like never before. Sponsors are watching. Players are speaking up. And the owners, the same ones who once backed Engelbert's vision, are preparing to reshape the future without her. Her legacy, once defined by optimism, is now marked by conflict. Cathy Engelbert's era will be remembered not for her growth strategies or boardroom triumphs, but for the chaos that followed them. The officiating scandals, the Caitlin Clark controversy, the boos that echoed through the finals, all symbols of a leadership that lost touch with its people. As the dust settles, one truth remains undeniable. The WNBA is changing, whether Engelbert likes it or not. The owners are no longer whispering. The players are no longer silent. And the fans have made their voices heard. The commissioner who once stood as the face of progress now stands as the warning of what happens when progress loses its humanity. And as the league prepares to move on, one question remains: who will step up to restore what was lost? The trust, the unity, and the belief that women's basketball deserves better leadership than this? Because one thing is clear. Cathy Engelbert's time as commissioner may have ended, but the story of the WNBA's reckoning is only just beginning.